if I told you that an old Brahmin waited his entire life for Krishna to visit his home, and when the Lord finally came, he arrived in the most shocking way imaginable? Today, I'm about to share with you one of the most heart-wrenching and beautiful stories from our scriptures, a tale so emotionally powerful that it will leave you questioning everything you know about divine timing and unwavering faith. This is the story of Vipra Brahmin, a devotee whose patience and devotion were tested for decades, until Krishna blessed him with a surprise so unbelievably divine that it changed the meaning of true devotion forever. In the sacred city of Vrindavan, there lived an elderly Brahmin known as Vipra. He wasn't wealthy, he wasn't famous, and he didn't possess any extraordinary powers. But what he had was something incredibly rare, an unshakable faith in Lord Krishna that had burned bright in his heart for over 60 years. Every single day, without fail, Vipra would prepare the most beautiful feast he could afford. With his trembling hands, he would cook rice, dal, vegetables, and sweets, arranging everything perfectly on banana leaves. Then he would sit by his door, waiting for Krishna to arrive. "Today my Lord will surely come," he would whisper to himself with hope dancing in his tired eyes. Mysteriously, this ritual continued day after day, year after year, with no sign of Krishna. Every morning at dawn, Vipra would wake up and immediately begin his preparations. Despite his poverty, he would somehow manage to gather ingredients for a feast fit for the Lord. His neighbors often mocked him, calling him crazy. "Old man," they would laugh, "Krishna has better places to be than your humble hut. Why do you waste your food like this?" But Vipra never wavered, even when his own stomach growled with hunger. Even when he had barely enough to feed himself, he would first prepare Krishna's meal and wait. Hours would pass, the food would grow cold, evening would arrive, and still no Krishna. Interestingly, what Vipra did next will shock you to your core. Rather than eating the food himself or throwing it away in disappointment, he would offer it to cows and poor people, saying, "If my Krishna couldn't come today, at least his creation will be fed." This wasn't just devotion. This was pure, selfless love that defied all logic. Years turned into decades. Vipra's hair turned white, his back bent with age, his hands shook more each day, but his faith never diminished. Even his wife, who had initially supported his daily ritual, began to lose hope. "How long will you wait?" she would ask tearfully. "We grow older each day, and still Krishna doesn't come." But Vipra would simply smile and reply, "My dear, Krishna's time is not our time. He will come when he knows I need him the most." Amazingly, even in his darkest moments of doubt, something incredible kept him going. What Vipra didn't know was that Krishna had been watching him all along. Every single day, every single tear of longing, every single act of faith, none of it had gone unnoticed. In Dwarka, Krishna would often pause in his royal duties and smile mysteriously. When his queens asked why, he would say, "There's a devotee in Vrindavan whose love calls to me more powerfully than any prayer." The truth was, Krishna was deliberately delaying his visit, not out of cruelty but out of love. He wanted to see just how deep Vipra's devotion could grow, how pure his love could become. But wait, the most shocking part of this story is still coming. One day, after nearly 65 years of waiting, Vipra finally broke down. His body was failing, his eyesight was dimming, and for the first time in his life, doubt crept into his heart. "Maybe I've been foolish," he whispered, tears streaming down his weathered cheeks. "Maybe Krishna has forgotten about me. Maybe I'm not worthy of his visit." That night, as he lay on his simple bed, Vipra made a heartbreaking decision. "Tomorrow," he said to his wife, "I will prepare the meal one last time. If Krishna doesn't come, I will accept that my devotion wasn't enough." Unbelievably, this was exactly the moment Krishna had been waiting for. The next morning, as Vipra began what he believed would be his final preparation, something extraordinary happened. His hands, which had shaken for years, became steady. His tired eyes sparkled with an unexplained energy. As he was cooking, he heard a gentle knock at his door. Who could it be so early? He wondered, wiping his hands on his cloth. When he opened the door, he saw a beautiful young boy, no more than 10 years old, with the most enchanting smile he had ever seen. The child's eyes held depths of wisdom that seemed ancient, yet his presence radiated pure joy. "Grandfather," the boy said sweetly, "I'm very hungry. Could you spare some food for a traveler?" Mysteriously, something about this child stirred recognition deep in Vipra's soul. Without hesitation, Vipra invited the boy inside. As he served the food, he couldn't stop staring at the child's face. There was something so familiar, so divine about those features. The boy ate with such grace, such joy, praising every bite. "This is the most delicious food I've ever tasted," he said, his eyes twinkling. "It's prepared with so much love." As Vipra watched the child eat, tears began flowing down his face. Suddenly, in a flash of divine recognition, he saw it. The same eyes he had been visualizing in his prayers for 65 years, the same smile he had imagined countless times. "My Lord," Vipra whispered, falling to his knees. "You came. You actually came." Shockingly, Krishna's response revealed the most beautiful truth about divine love. Krishna, still in his child form, smiled and gently lifted Vipra to his feet. "My dear devotee," he said, his voice now carrying the infinite love of the Supreme, "I have been coming to your door every single day for 65 years. Vipra was confused. "But Lord, I never saw you. Every beggar you fed with my food, every hungry child you gave my prasad to, every cow you offered my meal to, that was me," Krishna explained, his form now radiating divine light. "I came to you through every creature you served when you thought I hadn't arrived." Incredibly, the truth was more beautiful than Vipra had ever imagined. "Your devotion was never tested, my child," Krishna continued, embracing the weeping Brahmin. "It was celebrated. Every day I received your love through the beings you fed. Your wait was not in vain. It was the most beautiful prayer I have ever received." "But why reveal yourself now?" Vipra asked through his tears. Krishna smiled that divine smile. "Because now you needed to see me with your eyes, to know that your faith was not foolish, and to understand that I am always present in every act of love and service." Amazingly, what happened next will give you chills. From that day forward, Vipra's life was transformed, but not in the way you might expect. He didn't become wealthy or famous. Instead, he gained something infinitely more precious: the absolute certainty that Krishna was present in every act of love, in every moment of service, in every gesture of kindness. He continued his daily ritual, but now with a different understanding. He knew that whether Krishna appeared visibly or not, he was always there, receiving love through every creature that benefited from his devotion. Interestingly, this story teaches us something revolutionary about our own spiritual journey. This incredible tale shockingly reveals that our prayers are never unanswered. They're simply answered in ways we don't always recognize. Every act of kindness we perform while waiting for divine intervention is actually the divine intervention itself. How many times do we wait for God to appear in our lives in spectacular ways, missing his presence in the ordinary moments of love and service? How often do we think our devotion is going unnoticed, when in reality every sincere prayer is being received and answered? Mysteriously, the divine doesn't always appear as we expect, but appears exactly as we need. Vipra's story reminds us that true devotion isn't about the destination, it's about the journey. It's not about when our prayers will be answered, but about how we maintain our faith while we wait. It's about finding God in our service to others, not just in our personal spiritual experiences. The next time you feel like your prayers aren't being heard, remember Vipra. The next time you wonder if your devotion matters, think of how Krishna celebrated every single day of that old Brahmin's faithful waiting. This story unbelievably shows us that in the spiritual realm, no sincere love ever goes unreturned. It just comes back to us in the most perfect way possible. If you liked the story, do comment Jai Shri Krishna. If you cherish the timeless wisdom of the Vedas, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Together, let's pass on the priceless teachings of Sanatana Dharma, from the young to the wise, for generations to come. Thank you so much for watching.